Good day and welcome to another edition of In Depth with the Bengals. I'm the voice of the Bengals, Jerry Miller, and our topic today actually is more of a person. His name is Joe White. He's an assistant basketball coach to Coach Looney and the men's program at ISU. And Joe, it's great to see you again.
Jerry, it's great to see you, man. I appreciate your time this morning, and I've been looking forward to this since Steve had asked me a few days ago, and I thought what a great opportunity to get to connect with you on a little bit more of a personal basis, and connect with more of our fan base and everything.
Well, we're going to see if we can do that successfully this morning.
Awesome.
And we're going to talk about Joe White. First of all, you were born in California.
Yeah, I was born in San Diego, California.
And tell me about your upbringing.
Yeah, I was born, my mother's name is Maria White. My father was Robert White, born in San Diego, California. Shortly after I was born, although both my parents are from that area, my father moved us to Lost Creek, Oregon, which is approximately 30 miles outside of, or 30 minutes more outside of Eugene, Oregon. And then I was there from all the way till I was 18. And then after my childhood, went to school through the Pleasant Hill school system from K through 11, and then went to Thurston High School my senior year. And then I went to Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon, right near the California border. And was there for 5 years, played my first 2 years. And then after my sophomore year, went and played a season professionally overseas. And then returned back after a season professionally and completed my undergrad. So I was in Southern Oregon until I was about 23. And then continue to pursue some professional opportunities and different agents and whatnot. It just, at the time, it wasn't God's plan. So with that, I really, pursued a couple of other professions and kind of, just tested the waters on a couple of things and found what I liked, what I didn't like. And, out of nowhere, I had this amazing opportunity presented to me in Tacoma, Washington. It was amazing to me. My family thought I was crazy when I told them, hey, I'm, we're going to pack up things here and I'm moving to Tacoma. They're like, what are you going to Tacoma for? I'm like, I was offered a great opportunity, and they're like, oh, okay, well, what are the, I just graduated, so what are the financial details and all that? And I was like, hey, if I tell you guys that, you're not going to let me, you're not going to support me taking it. So I did. I moved up there for a stipend of $1,500 a year. So I don't know how that breaks down, but it was $1,500 every 12 months to help rebuild, a program that traditionally was at the top of the junior college system, referred to as the NWAC. And we did just that. So we rebuilt, that program, and 3 years later had them in the NWAC championship game. From there, I returned home to Eugene as an assistant to Bruce Chofka at Lane Community College, and was there for 1 year as an assistant. And then 1 year as a head coach. I was blessed with an opportunity when he got an opportunity in Oklahoma. And we won the Southern Region Championship. We had the Player of the Year, Tarek Cool, who ended up coming here to Idaho State. And that May of 2019, Coach Looney got hired here, and shortly after hired me. So that's my that's my route to Idaho State and my upbringing in a nutshell.
How about your family? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do. There was 5 of us. There are now 4. Rest in peace to my brother Guillermo. But he was the oldest. I'm the youngest of 5. My sister Tiffany lives in Turlock, California. My sister Jennifer lives in Midland, Texas. My brother Selden lives in Odessa, Texas. And then I'm here in Pocatello.
Well, it's interesting. I have three sons in Texas.
Is that right?
I'm in Idaho. So
Cool.
families tend to get scattered around. What did your dad do for a living?
Yeah, my father was a cement mason. So I grew up, every opportunity that my dad had for us, which was often, my brother and I, who are very close in age, my brother Sheldon, we were out, laying cement and helping my father with that trait. And I had a lot of respect for it. It was very, very hard work, very physically demanding on your body. And my father, if he was still here, he was born in 1941, so he'd be approaching 80. Times were different when he was growing up. So all of the everything from the tools and equipment to the knowledge and everything, it's just different in those times. And so as things have, continued to, technology's gotten better and equipment's gotten better, I think that he would have excelled even more. Not that he didn't already, but it was, back then it was just how hard can you work and how long can you go and how much mortar can you mix and, how fast can we get this job done to the best of our abilities. So he was a cement mason.
How about your mom? Did she work?
Yeah, she, very grateful for it. A lot of our time growing up, she was at home. And then, as we've gotten older, she pursued more stuff in the medical field. So that's what, I think her latest, achievement was she got her, she became an EKG, technician. Yeah. So, but she works in the medical field and loves it. And, it just really speaks of her heart. She's always, wanting to help and love others as much as she can.
Well, speaking of achievements,
Yep.
you had a big one during the last year, and you have added a Mrs. to you now. Tell us about Cedra and
Yep.
what it means to you to be married.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you asking. Yes, so Cedra White, formerly Cedra Malik, is my wife, and we live here in Pocatello together. We actually just bought a beautiful home here about a block and a half off campus. We got married August 8th, honeymooned until August 15th, attended a wedding August 16th, got back to Pocatello August 17th, and moved into our home on August 17th. And so it was a very fun and busy time for us. And, I had to quarantine during that time because I was out of state. So really, it worked out perfectly for us in the event that I was able to work from home, stay on top of all of our recruiting stuff and whatever task coach had for me. But it also gave me the time to really make sure that I was, helping to the best of my abilities to get us moved in, not only as quickly as possible, but also to get us unpacked and kind of get everything in place so that, she didn't have to worry about that while I was at work.
And Cedra works as well. Or
Yeah, yep, she
she's,
does. Right now she's finishing her nursing degree. So she's currently back in Washington State, where she's finishing her RN, and she'll be there about 3 weeks, and then she'll be here, and then she'll be back there for about 3 weeks, and then she'll be back here, and we try to work it out to make sure that we're seeing each other as often as possible, but also having an understanding that during this time, it's very important that she's supported and given strength to take care of her nursing degree.
Let's talk about your coaching career. You explained how you ended up at Idaho State, or at least you told us the path you took. Tell us about how you actually ended up coming to know Coach Ryan Looney,
Yeah.
and how that move from Lane Community College, where you had a 20-plus win season
Yep.
in your division,
Yep.
and then you come to Idaho State as an assistant coach.
Yeah. So, it was 2013 when I got in, just completed year 6. And I've always dedicated a lot of time to recruiting. And, when I was making, little to no money at the junior college level, I never allowed that to deter me from my vision and my calling and whatnot, which was very simple. Like, God wanted me on the road to connect and impact, guide and mentor as many kids as possible, and connect with as many kids as I could. And so, although the finances were tight, I was living on the road as often as possible, sleeping out of my vehicle and just making sure that I was taking care of my needs, not necessarily my wants, and knowing that, big picture, my wants were going to be taken care of one day, right? But my needs were to make sure that I was at every event up and down the West Coast that I could, financially attend. And even when I couldn't, still finding a way to be there. And so I made sure that when I got into the business in 2013, I wanted to really lock down and spend the majority of my time on the I-5 corridor from Seattle, Washington to San Diego, California. And the reason that made most sense to me was I had family spread out along the corridor. And so I could go different places by flight, stay with them for free, and then find my ways to the gyms that were hosting events. So it's a lot easier for me to do that than to try to go places where I didn't have family, didn't have friends, and couldn't drive my vehicle, and then have to worry about, financially taking care of hotels or different, lodging arrangements. So I was always on the road, and, Coach Looney has always been the recruiter for his programs. And so he was often on the road. And with that, we built a good relationship, but I think, even more importantly, built a great level of respect for each other in the recruiting work. And so, I had talked to Coach Looney multiple times in the past, had a great level of respect for him. One thing I really did was when I got to the junior college level and I was kind of, working on things about, what different realistic opportunities could be in the future. I really studied the coaches that had won at a high level for an extended period of time. And Coach Ryan Looney was one of the best coaches on the entire West Coast. And knowing that that was my region, he was one of the coaches that I really focused on in terms of, researching him and getting to know him from afar. That way, if opportunity was ever presented, I was prepared. And so, when the opportunity was presented, I had already spoken at the time, my fiance and I had already spoken to her, and we knew if God had ever presented this opportunity, regardless of where we were with that home that we had just purchased in Eugene, we were gone. And that's exactly what happened. We had owned our home for, I think, 6 months in Eugene, the Eugene area, rented it out for 3 months after the first 6, and then sold it after 9 months. But I had told her, hey, we'll buy a home, but just know if we're called to a different location for a different opportunity, we're gone. And that's exactly it. So, got to know Coach Looney really well on the recruiting trail. And then I had Tarek Cool at Lane Community College. Again, he was the player of the year there. Led us to a 27-4 season, a conference championship, Final Four appearance, and a great run in our first year. Tarek was being recruited by Coach Looney to Point Loma, and Coach and I got to know each other even better during that time. And when Coach, had started to gain some momentum here with Idaho State, I think that there came a point in time where he started to kind of inform me of a potential opportunity. And if that was the case, he wanted to make sure that I was on board of coming here. And then he also wanted to, make sure that we did our best to get Tarek Cool here, who was great, came here and started every game for us his first year. And through growing pains in the first year of our rebuild, has us very optimistic going into year 2 together.
As an individual, I've admired you from the moment I met you. I have been amazed at the enthusiasm you bring to the court every single day, whether it's to practice or to a game, or even just riding the bus to practice or from the airport or wherever. You are such a positive person. Where does that come from? Who have been the greatest influencers in your life?
Well, I appreciate that. Very kind words, Jerry, and I got a high level of respect for you, and I'm very appreciative of you as an individual. Where my happiness and enthusiasm and approach comes from, it's very simple. It comes from my faith. So, without getting too, religiously driven in this conversation, that is where everything stems from in a nutshell. But with that, I've been blessed with great people in my life, whether it was family or friends, and whether they've taught me, lessons that were positive or negative. Either way, they were teaching me. And I think so much of this industry, even more so much of this this profession, this calling, right, is about learning. About constantly learning and learning from players, learning from coaches, learning from referees, constantly learning. And so I'm grateful for everybody that's played a role in helping me get to where I'm at today. I'm by no means where I want to be. I tell my wife all the time, I'm a work in progress. My work's not done. I still have a lot of work to do, and my work will never end because I want to be the best, version of myself that I can be. But my parents were great. When they were there, my father was very true to the core on his values and what he believed, a man should be and stand for and bring to his family. So my father was a seasonal worker who oftentimes worked out of state, so he wasn't there physically, but he was there by phone or, at the time we didn't have Skype or we didn't have FaceTime, so it's not like he was able to get on here with us face to face. It was all landline work, so he was calling the landline, and we'd get to talk to him that way. But he always stressed the same things, listen to our mother, right? Do what mom's asking, work as hard as we can. He was a very large advocate for us in athletics, and was a special athlete himself in football, had scholarship offers to Texas and USC, and turned them down to be a provider for his family. So, made sure that we were always listening to our coaches and doing that, doing what was asked of us. And then he rewarded us. He was a man of few words, but he made sure we knew when we were doing a great job. He made sure we knew when we should be rewarded, right? And there's a lot of constructive criticism growing up, right? Because our father felt like it was his job to make sure that we were fully equipped to be the best men that we could be for when his time came, and we were left without him. So with that, my mother's she's a lover, and I always admired my mother because she loves hard, and she thoroughly loves people, whether she knows them well or whether she doesn't. She's always been so respectful to everyone. She has always, really emphasized manners to us, which came from my father. and then with that, she was genuine, and I remember growing up, man, all the family and friends always wanted to come to our house. Why? Well, one, my mother was a great cook. And, but aside from that, it was the feeling that we had within our home. My mother was always creating an environment where family and friends felt the love within our home. And, love is, you also being a man of faith, how important the word love is in all facets. So I think that, a lot of that credit goes to my mom. She was way more, verbally outspoken about, the importance of emotion and those type of things, and how we would treat others and that type of stuff.
Sounds like your mother's very much like the woman I married, Joe.
Yeah.
We're blessed to have people like that in our lives.
Amen to that.
Let's talk about the Bengals. I want to go back to one thing you said. You talked about all the different people that you've learned things from.
Yep.
And you mentioned referees, officials.
Yep.
Somebody might wonder, what does Joe learn from basketball referees?
Yeah. Well, I've had a, pretty good period of time, 5 years as an assistant in the business, 1 year as a head coach. And you're constantly learning from them. You're learning a lot of communication stuff, right? Not every referee likes to be communicated with the same. You have to, really be, a good listener, because oftentimes, they are human too, and they want to make sure that they're being heard, right? And so if you're a good listener and you're allowing them to be heard, now they're more receptive to when you need to communicate with them, right? And so you're learning that, the way that they carry themselves. And, there's, just like I'm sure referees look at coaches and they think, man, that guy's got it down and that guy doesn't. They're at different levels. You're looking at referees and like, man, that guy's really good at his job, and that guy has a lot of work to do, right? Not that the guy that has a lot of work to do can't get there, but you could just tell, like in any field of work, oftentimes, expertise and maturity and time in the business, and all those different things that bring different learning experiences help you continue to grow. And so for me, learning how to speak to them, how to listen to them, what in our in our field of work, what a good referee does, what a bad referee does, and then trying to find a way to effectively and positively work with those guys. It's important to have good relationships with referees. You never know at home or on the road when you're going to need a little assistance, and it's important to treat them respectfully and continue to learn from them and whatnot.
I'm going to ask you, it's a different kind of question, but there are 3 other coaches on the staff at Idaho State besides you.
Yep.
I want you to give me one sentence about each one and about why they're special and why you enjoy working with them.
Man, awesome. I would say I'll start with Chris Rywall. He's our GA. Chris, is not too good for any task. And when given a task, never asks why or can I do it later, or there's never a question. Chris Rywald, as soon as he's given a task, he accepts the task and does it to the best of his abilities. Next would be Davis Furman. Davis he's a young star in the making. His father was a coach for a very long time. He's been around the game at a very high level. What I like about Davis is he's a great listener. And I think that's a really, really good trait to have. When people say that about you, I think it's really important. So Davis has the ability to really listen, and then to be able to apply whatever has been told to him. So, for example, if Coach Looney's, talking to him in depth, Davis is then able to right away apply whatever Coach is saying. And Davis is also our technology guy, so I appreciate that about him. Coach McMillan, Chris McMillan, he's just so passionate. He's so passionate about everything, and I love that. I really feed off that. And I think that we continue to build off each other in that regard, because there's a lot of energy between the two of us. But Coach, Chris McMillan, he's very good at skill development work, and he's a relationship guy. The guys really like him, and I value that. I think that's really important. And then now our fearless leader, Coach Looney. Coach Looney is very different from any leader that I've been blessed to work for. He is teaching me so much on a daily basis, and I tell my wife all the time, I'm constantly learning from Coach, different things that I look forward to doing when I'm called to lead my program again one day. And everything from on the court to off the court, players, family, he really gets it. He has the it factor and really gets it, and understands balance. But more than all of that, I think his ability to build such strong relationships with his players, but also hold such a high level of respect from them. There's a fine line of being so close to your players that maybe some of the level of respect is lost because they feel like, maybe they've gotten so close that they don't quite hold you to the position that you have, and whatnot. But no, Coach does a phenomenal job of building relationships with guys and installing trust and confidence in them, and then also being able to get them to give their best effort on game days.
One more question, then we'll wrap it up, Joe.
Yep.
There has been such great turnover in the program, not just from last year to this year, but even the year before that.
Yeah.
A lot of turnover coming into your first year.
Right.
Tell me why ISU fans should be excited about the coming basketball season and why they are going to want to have their tickets at Reed Gym.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that Coach Looney has a proven track record over the previous 16 years as a head coach of being able to rebuild programs. He went to Eastern Oregon where there had been little to no success, and completely built a program there, and took them from the bottom of the conference to a conference championship team. From there, he was there 5 years. He went to Seattle Pacific. All 7 years he was there, had his team in the national tournament. He took over a respected, good Division II program there, and took them from good to great. So that one wasn't, in the sense of a rebuild, maybe as large of a rebuild, but same concept. He really elevated their program and, took them to a team that was competing for a conference championship or a conference tournament championship on an annual basis. Then went to Point Loma, was there for 3 years. That was a complete rebuild. He got there and he took over a program that wasn't very good. By year 3, had him in the Division II national championship, and helped produce an NBA player by the name of Dalton Thomas. And so with that proven track record, I think that, especially within this, western part of the United States region, there's a tremendous amount of respect for him and his ability to rebuild programs. And I think that, Idaho State fans should be, extremely optimistic and excited, because the same thing's happening here. Coach has a great vision and really stands true to, his belief that, his culture and our identity and our system is what's going to, win in the long run. And, Coach, he believes in the retention of our staff, and we have guys that are fully bought in and excited and eager to help and do, everything to the best of our abilities that we can for them to help elevate this program. And so our fans, I think that now that we're starting to get more players that fit our needs, I think before the year before, by the timing of when Coach got the job, it was already, so far after the first signing period in November, a large part of the players that would have helped us had already signed at a different institution. And so then we get the job, and it's dang near summer. And, we just had to put together a roster. So Coach did a great job of putting a roster together to allow us to compete. But now we're starting to get guys that really fit our system. And that's been, one of the major things for Coach, is having guys that not only believe in his system, but fit his system. And with that, retention of staff and everyone bought into the same vision. I believe that we will continue to build this program, brick by brick, day by day, put us in a position to continue to get better every year.
So tell us how this year's team will be improved over last year's, and what areas?
Wins and losses. So I would say we'll be improved. We lacked size last year at the 5. We started, Chidi Udangwu at times and Malik Porter at times, both around the 6'5" area in height and between 190 and 200 pounds. So our first thing was, with recruiting, identifying our needs and then filling, those scholarships with guys that fit our needs. And we did a great job as a staff identifying them and going out and we got very fortunate. We got, majority of the guys that we wanted. Excuse me. And so now at the center, now we have Braden Parker, who's 6'7.5", 250 pounds. Zachary Vissenton, who's 6'9", 260 pounds. We have Gideon Buzangu, who's 6'8", 240 pounds. So, we addressed that need, and we filled it with depth, which is very important, especially at this level, at all levels, but especially at this level. Then, the ability to, make shots on the perimeter, guys that are 3-point makers. And we went out and we addressed that need and brought in guys that shoot, a very high percentage and can knock down the open 3. So we not only added guys that'll help us there, but we brought in great depth at that position. And then, the next position is the guard position. We got very fortunate, brought in, Robert Ford from Portland, Oregon. He was at Clackamas Community College. He's, a walking triple-double, nearly averaged a triple-double for 2 years of junior college. He was 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, NWAC Player of the Year. And typically, the NWAC Player of the Year goes to a very respected, high-level, program. I believe the year before, the NWAC Player of the Year went to Florida State in the ACC. Robert had a handful of offers that were, maybe more respected than where Idaho State is right now as a program. Thankfully, due to relationships, we were able to get Robert Ford to come to Idaho State, but also brought in, Liam Churchill Sorensen from Denmark. Liam's 6'4", 210 pound freshman who, really, really defends, shoots the 3, but is very unselfish as a point guard, and gives us depth at that position. So I'm missing a few guys, but with that, we addressed our needs. We have guys that fit coach's system. We're going to have the ability to make baskets around the basket with our size. We're going to have the ability to defend opponents' post players with our size. We should turn the ball over less and have more guys that can knock down shots for us on the perimeter. So I think there's a lot to be excited for as a fan base. I hope everyone's ready. We are going to have a season, and as a staff, we're extremely optimistic, and as a program, we're working our hardest every day, to provide you guys with the best product that we can to excite this community.
Joe, I can't wait. I have the best seat in the house
Yeah.
to watch Bengal basketball, and I can't wait to be able to look down the bench, see you and the other coaches and the team game after game after game as those W's pile up.
Thank you so much, Jerry, and my blessings to you and your family. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you soon.
Joe White, assistant basketball coach at Idaho State. It is indeed a pleasure to talk to you again. Congratulations on you and Cedra and being married in August, and the best of luck to you and to her in that nursing degree. And I look forward to getting on a bus and an airplane with you at some point in November and December.
You got it, brother. Take care, Jerry.
You bet. That's another edition of In Depth with the Bengals with ISU assistant basketball coach Joe White. I'm Jerry Miller.